to another episode of Pretty Open-Minded. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any episodes. Make sure you follow me on Spotify because you can watch it on Spotify too. Today we're going to be talking about embracing being single and also turning post notifications because I have been more active on here, so make sure you do so. It helps me out a lot. I kind of glitched for a second. I kind of got inspired by the Emma Chamberlain podcast. I didn't finish watching it, but I saw that like on TikTok that she was recently going through a breakup and then she had the podcast, so I was like, this might be a good topic, you know what I mean? This is kind of perfect timing because this month, towards the end of the month, is going to be officially 2 years of me being single. It went by really fast but also very slow. It's not the most horriblest thing to be single. People try to make it seem like it's the worst thing, especially around the holidays. Like people often do feel the loneliest when it comes to like big holidays, like what is it called, Valentine's Day, Halloween, Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, those type of holidays. I guess there's a statistic saying that people feel more lonely and depressed on Halloween than Valentine's Day because they don't have plans and they'll be like not in a relationship, so they feel like they are like missing out on things. So I understand where that is coming from that, where that is stemming from. But personally, there's like a lot of good, and I feel like there's mostly good when it comes to being single, honestly. I don't know why, especially on social media, people kind of punish you for being single and they make it seem like something is wrong with you when I'm not jumping from relationship to relationship. And I will say, like, I have hung out with people this year. I have these long gaps of going on dates because I'm not really on dating apps. Like, I have profiles, but I don't really use it. Like, I used it, like, I don't know, like a couple weeks ago, a month ago, and I was just kind of sifting through it and I was like, oh, I remember why I don't like it. I'm overstimulated. There's too many options, not that great of options, but there's options there, and then you don't know if people are even using it. So I don't know, people say it's best to meet people organically, but then people get scared of meeting people organically because there's a fear of rejection. A week ago I was getting out of my dentist appointment and I was debating on whether I should take the bus home or if I should just take a lift home. So I was kind of like walking back and forth on the other side of the street where my dentist is, and then I noticed that there was this guy that was kind of like looking at me and kind of like walking towards me, but from the car wash. And I was like, okay, maybe he's not following me. Like, and I was kind of like looking behind me to see, and then when I got to like near the store, he's like, hey, I noticed you back there. I didn't want to scare you. And he was like really he was apologizing a lot for following me just to try to get my socials. So I gave him my business Instagram because personally I don't really like giving out my Instagram that I've had since I was 14 because I was posting pictures of on there when I was a minor. So like I don't want that to be out, you know, so I keep that account private. So I gave him that one, you know. I still am on it, you know what I mean, but I wasn't really talking a lot. I was like, oh yeah, sure, can I just give you my Instagram? And some people find that as rejection, but personally I don't even like giving out my number. I don't like giving out my number because people are huge sticklers with that. A lot of dudes started picking up on the Google number thing, and over time, even the older dudes, like because I watched the show with my mom like 2 months ago. I forgot the show, it was on HBO, but he was really mad at this girl because she gave him her Google number and he called it, and then he noticed it went straight to voicemail. Personally, it's safer to give out the Google number because you can just ignore it if you want to, and for a while I was doing that because I just was tired of giving out my number. Like, there was a point in time where I was giving out my number because I thought it was easier, but then I realized, like, over time, like, I don't actually really like it. I gave him my Instagram and I waited and waited. Since I didn't know his Instagram, I couldn't find a way to talk to him, you know what I mean? He wasn't like my type, but I also was like trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, because I was like, what if he's nice? I don't want to go off of solely looks, but I am pretty shallow when it comes to those things, because I just want to be attracted to that person personality wise and looks wise. But if you just go for solely looks like how I used to, like, that's where you get in a lot of trouble. And then they're just pretty to look at and fun to fuck, but not, you don't have like real conversations with them. So I waited and waited like a couple of days, and I realized that he didn't ever bother to reach out. So I was like, that was a waste of time. I even asked my therapist like what that's about, and maybe he's just was scared, and she was like, what if he's busy? But also then again, like, you don't know him, so don't like put a lot of like pressure on yourself over that. And I was like, you're right, like, honestly. And my mom was like kind of saying the similar things. Like, she said like, give it till the weekend, and then if he doesn't reach out, then just leave it alone. And that's kind of also what my therapist said too, like, give it a certain amount of time, and then if he doesn't reach out, like, just let it go. And I did let it go, because it's been a week now, or 2 weeks now. Yeah, kind of ish, a weekish, I don't know. And he hasn't bothered to reach out. I would check and nothing. So I was just like, well, I probably scared him off. And maybe since I didn't say a lot, maybe he thought I wasn't welcoming, because honestly, like, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of dudes my age don't really come up to me. It's a lot of dudes that are like around my dad's age or even older than my parents that would come up to me and start trying to flirt with me and stuff. And it makes me hella uncomfortable personally, because a lot of them are just too old, and they would have no teeth, and you could tell that they're on like some sort of substance, and you could smell the alcohol from like inches away. And it's just not really fun. Like, I don't want to have a struggle love. I don't want to have any of that. And dudes say hi to me and I act like I don't hear them. Have gotten killed over that, you know what I mean? They'll get really upset, and then they'll like stalk them and start hurting them. And there's always that fear in the back of my mind, like, you don't ever know what people's intentions are. And I started ignoring it, because I'm just like, it's not if I start talking to them just to be nice, like, they're not gonna leave me alone, you know what I mean? They don't understand that I'm being nice just so you can leave me alone. And maybe that guy thought I was just being nice so I can be left alone, and maybe that's his assumption of me, because I also have to realize that I probably did look really spooked, and that's probably why he was apologizing a lot, because I can't see my facial expressions. And a lot of people say I make a lot of crazy facial expressions when people talk to me, and especially if I don't know the person, I know that I will be very skeptical about it, because I feel like people bother me more when I'm alone, and I'm out about alone versus when I'm with someone. And it really kind of annoys me, because it's like never the right people. It's always like people that I'm always like kind of scared of and like hella uncomfortable from, and it's just not fun. It's not a fun feeling, I'm not gonna lie. So I just try to kind of keep my head down a lot so I don't draw like attention to myself. And so that's what I do in public a lot of the times, and I try to keep my headphones in. But honestly, I have had like some struggles with being single though. I get really bored sometimes, and I don't really talk to people. Like, honestly, like, I'm being so for real. I only, like, the people that I talk to consistently is my mom and my therapist. That's it. I don't talk to people at school. Like, this dude from my class talked to me like a week ago, and I was waiting for my ride. The lighting keeps changing. This is kind of annoying. And I don't know, like, I noticed that a lot of the times when we're in class together, he does kind of stare at me a lot. And I was like not really thinking anything of it, because I'm like, maybe he's just staring just to stare. But then he saw me at the table, like, and we were sitting at the same table, and he's like, hey, do you want to play cards? And I was like, I don't really know how to play cards anymore. I used to play cards when I was little, and I was like kind of waiting for him to teach me how to play Go Fish and all that other stuff. But then he was like, oh, like, never mind, it's okay, like, I hope you have a good day. And I was like, that's a little bit weird, you know? Maybe I was just, I don't know, intimidating or something. But I don't really play like card games a lot. I just play Uno and stuff. So I just don't like, I haven't played Go Fish since I was like 7 or 8 or something, and I used to really love that game. And it was like, I don't know, like it was fun from what I remember. I played with like the neighborhood kids from the apartments that I lived in, so that's what I was doing, you know what I mean? But I don't really like talk to him a lot. I have his Instagram because like in case that because in the beginning of the semester my teacher told us all to exchange Instagrams with one another, because if one of us is absent, like we can inform them what's happening, which a lot of professors kind of do that, and it's a good way. But also like I stopped kind of talking in the group chats because a lot of the times people will kind of look at me, look for my wait for me to say something because I'm always the one paying attention. So they were always like, well, like what do you think of it, like what is it, homework or something like that. They wouldn't really come to me for someone to be like a possible friend. It was always something to gain from, you know what I mean? So I stopped just kind of responding in the government group chat, because I try to keep like a distance and I don't try to like obsessively do it. But I'm glad that it's not like like something that's constantly going, because I've been in like several group chats since I've been in college, and sometimes it would go crazy, but this one was the only one that wasn't like crazy, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's how I got his his Instagram. Even though we don't sit by each other, I was leaving the class and he's like, oh, can I have your Instagram? But I didn't think he was ugly. I thought he was cute, but I'm just not really the type of person that talks to people first anymore. I did that this year where I was at the liquor store and I noticed this like really cute guy, and I talked about it in therapy, and I talked about it to some people because I was generally like embarrassed by this situation, but I generally didn't know, you know what I mean? I saw this cute guy at the liquor store. He worked there. He was like greeting us a lot because we were the only ones there, and no one really goes to that liquor store a lot. It doesn't really get a lot of play, so I'm surprised that it's still like kind of up and running, you know what I mean? So one of the times that I went up there, I kept trying to build up the courage to talk to this dude, and every day I was finding ways to like talk to him, and one day I just did. Then I realized the first time I tried to look for him, I was trying to find ways to not come off creepy, and I was like, I didn't know how to say it, you know, I didn't know how to do it, because technically I'm not supposed to know his schedule, because it's technically inappropriate, and that's how I said it. I was like, oh, do you know when so and so is here, the other guy is here? And then he's like, I'm not supposed to tell you that. But he was so effing nice. This is a manager. He was so effing nice about it, but I was like, in my head I was like, I didn't know how to say it, I didn't know. And he's like, why do you want him? And I was like, oh, I thought he was cute, and I felt really awkward about it, telling him how I felt about this dude. This man I never really talked to that much. The last time I went to the liquor store before this was back in 2022, and I forgot my ID card. My little like my ID, and my mom and I were going to the liquor store for something, and since I forgot it, he was freaking out a lot because he thought I was underage. And so he's like, don't touch the alcohol, don't touch it at all. I couldn't even pick up anything, and he was generally like freaking out every time I was grabbing something. And so that was my first impression of him, because I'm over here thinking, well, they'll think I'm an adult, you know what I mean? But he took it like really seriously, and he was kind of like getting frustrated whenever I would try to grab something. So when I've met him this other time, he was chill. But yeah, so then there's something else that he said that should have made me not want to go through with it. So he was like, what do you see Nikki as? And I was like, a dude. And he's like, okay. And that made me think, is he trans or something? What is the deal with him? Like, why did he say it like that? So one of the times I actually did see him, I was with my mom, I believe, and then I got his Instagram, and I was like, in my head I was like, did he feel like he needed, no. And is that the reason why he gave me his Instagram? Because he thought I was like, am I making him uncomfortable? But when I did go up to him, he said, oh, I have a partner. this ninja's gay. This ninja is gay. I look at his Instagram. He's dressed in women's clothing. And he goes by Nikki. What man is called Nikki? So I was like, and not like Nikkie or whatever. It was the other way. So I was like, holy shit. We've talked back and forth through via DMs, but it didn't really go far because I was the one always reaching out to him, and it kind of was very, like, it was a very dry conversation, and it was mostly about work because he kept saying, also the manager was telling me to make a move on him because he was going to be moving out of state soon for school. And I was like, there's just so many red flags in that conversation that now that I'm looking back on. I know that he had like the best intentions for me in this situation, and he said, I don't want to lose you as a customer, I don't want to make it awkward if it doesn't work out, you know what I mean? And he was giving me this pep talk, like, in case he does reject me. And I was very like thankful of it, because I know that some people cannot handle rejection well, and for someone like me that's been rejected several times in my life, it does hurt. It does hurt, and it makes you kind of think like, is there something wrong with me? I've been rejected from jobs, I've been rejected by people I liked, I've been rejected by brands I wanted to work with. It like makes you think like, is there something wrong with me? But I really like appreciated that pep talk, because people probably needed to hear that, like, because some people take it so far and then they get violent. And I'm glad that my mom taught me about rejection at a young age, so I didn't have to get mad at everyone that I came across. Yeah, it was mostly like the conversations were about work, and then I started kind of leaving him undelivered after a while because the conversations wasn't going anywhere. And I was telling my mom and my other friend, like, I don't really see this as going anywhere, but I didn't have the courage to tell him that. So I haven't talked to him in months, because honestly, what is there to talk about? And it seemed like he was kind of like, I don't know if he felt like he had to talk to me because of that whole circumstance. And some people do give out their socials when they feel uncomfortable, and then they can easily just block them. But if they know where you work at, it's kind of hard, you know what I mean? Because they can just come and be like, why did you block me? But I just wasn't gonna do all that. I'm not gonna do all that. I just felt like it was a one-sided thing. And he said he wanted friends. He said out when he told me like he had a partner, he's like, I wanted friends. And I was like, cool, like I want friends too. But I was the only one pulling the strings. I was the only one giving effort here. So how is this gonna work if I'm the only one making an effort here to talk to you? And I really wanted to be his friend, but it just didn't go out that way. So I just was like, well, it did bother me too when that happened, because I'm like, even if it didn't work out as a partner, I wanted at least a friend, you know what I mean? I'm okay with that. And I feel like it could have been cool if it was a totally different person, but the situation was kind of jumbled everywhere. So it was embarrassing to find out that he was, you know, gay and all. I never knew, but I should have known from the conversation with his manager. But the thing is, when I first saw him, he wasn't dressed in feminine clothing. He was just wearing a lot of like grunge clothing with like eyeliner. He had like black nail polish on, and that's what I remember. The last time I saw him, he was wearing blue nail polish, and I was like, I'm not a fan of dudes wearing nail polish. I'm not into that. And I know that like that's a very controversial thing, but it's always been a preference. I never liked men with nail polish. It always kind of freaked me out personally. People think it's like a, what is it called, a massage, like a sexist thing, but I just always think nail polish, you're feminine, you're gay, you know what I mean? And not in some rude shit, but that's what I grew up seeing, like, you know what I mean? Like, I grew up around a lot of gay people. I grew up around a lot of people that like dudes, that liked women, you know what I mean? I wasn't around a lot of androgynous people like that dude, you know. I don't know why a preference is controversial, but it's always been a preference. Like, I don't like that stuff, and I feel like men have a hard time figuring out like what role they play in, because of women are coming in and doing everything that technically men were supposed to do, because they would be slacking off and being like filing their nails and being like, oh well, you're supposed to be treating me like a princess. And it pisses me off personally, because they expect to be chased down and they expect to be wined and dined, and it's okay if you are worth it, but if you're just not doing anything and you're just kind of sitting on your ass and expecting to be sucked and fucked and treated like a princess all the time, like, you don't deserve anything but hell. But I'm just like, why is it like this? Like, relationships have, like, the dynamics have changed so much. When I got out of my relationship, I was like, damn, the dating game has changed, and I've only been out of the game for a year and it's changed. And I noticed the change quite fast when I realized, like, I want to be outside, I want to like meet people, you know what I mean? That's when I noticed it, because I noticed how scared people are to meet each other and how scared people are to be vulnerable. The dudes that I met last year, like, they were not that great. Normally there's like at least that one, and I did have a crush on one of them, and I think he did have a crush on me too, because he did tell me. But the thing is, there were some problems that I just couldn't get around with, you know what I mean? One of the problems was when I started trying to show that I liked him back, without saying it, he would kind of do this tug and pull thing. So he would pull back when I would start showing that I liked him, and then he would complain that I wasn't reciprocating, that I liked him, like I didn't show it in person. And so we had a lot of problems with that. And then whenever he would say he would take me out, he only took me out, he never actually took me on a formal date. It was only like a thing where we were riding around my neighborhood, and we only watched Rush Hour. That was it. The second time we hung out, I believe. So he was like, the next time we hang out, we're gonna go to the sushi place. I was excited because I like felt like okay about him. I also want to reiterate that he even invited me to the military ball, but then he like pulled back and was like, oh, I don't want to go anymore. So that really upset me, because I was gonna wear my prom dress that I had since my prom, but he didn't want to go anymore. So yeah. And he would make a lot of excuses, and I'm like, if you just, in my head I was like, if you don't have the money, just say that. Like, why do you keep avoiding that conversation? And I think he was just embarrassed, but it would make more sense and if you just straight up said, I don't have the money for it, you know what I mean? But I was upset about it, and then we kind of like drifted apart after a while. I saw on his Instagram about a girlfriend or something, because there was one time also where he was talking about me in his story. Like, he straight up put my name in his story, but he was talking about someone else, but he put my name in the story. And I posted it, and I was like, if you miss me that bad, just say that, because my name was in there. And what other person with my name would you be talking about? You don't find a lot of people with my name. It's a very rare, it's unique. So I was like, that's really odd. Like, you took a selfie and then you posted it. Like, you didn't look back, you didn't proofread it, you didn't see that it was odd that you put your ex talking stage on there on your story when you were talking about your homeboy. That part was very odd to me, and I was making a lot of indirect TikToks about him, and he would watch it, but I don't think he got the memo. But I did like him a lot, but I don't think it would be good as a relationship. But I met like 2 or 3 dudes last year, and it just wasn't that great. It wasn't worth it, because one of the dudes I met in January last year, he freaking blocked me after we hung out for some reason. And then he, months and months and months later, he unblocked me, found my Instagram again, and followed me, then unfollowed me because I didn't follow him back, I guess. And then he also tried, he swiped on me on the dating apps again to get my attention. So I was like, this is very weird. I feel uncomfortable with this. I'm not about to be chasing this dude. If you didn't like me in that way, then it's fine. I'm not about to be sitting up here crying over some ninja I didn't even know. You know what I mean? So I just moved on. But I thought, I wasn't thinking about him up until he started doing that weird shit. So I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're like in our 20s. Like, what are we doing? And then there's this other dude that I thought he wanted a relationship, but the way he was giving was that he just wanted someone to fuck on. And then when I heard about his ex, because I asked about his last relationship, I asked everyone this: what made you and your ex break up? Because people ask me that, so I'm gonna ask you that. So he said, oh, she was complaining that I didn't give her a lot of attention. And I was like, okay, that's gonna be a problem for me. That's gonna be a problem, because that's kind of like what happened in my last relationship. The second we got together, he kind of was like, not really, we didn't really, you know what I mean? We had these long gaps of not talking, and I just can't do that again. So I felt like that was really annoying. I asked him what he wanted. He said a relationship, but the actions were giving something else. Then he kept, like, we hung out like once or twice, and then he asked me to go to this coffee place. And I was like, are you just saying this because you want someone to sleep with? And he's like, yes. I was actually, the sad part was I was actually excited for that date. And I think it's because I kind of miss it, you know what I mean? But I'm glad I didn't go, because it would have been a waste of time on me, and I can't keep wasting my time on people. And then this year I met 2 people, and it's November. Normally I meet like 4 or 5 people by now, or yeah, because in 2022 I met a lot of people. I was going on a lot of dates, but this year it wasn't really giving that. I mostly focused on myself this year. So I met 2 people. One of them was this short Floridian dude. He was from Florida, and he looked at my, like, every so often he looks at my profile on TikTok, and he messaged me through TikTok at first on my vlog account. And I was like, this is weird. And it was like a cartoon anime character. So I was like, I don't know if this is a child. Normally when they have like anime, they're either they're teens or they're adults. They're adults when they're doing that anime shit. So I was very like skeptical about it. But then again, how the fuck did he find it? You know what I mean? But we were talking back and forth. I asked him his age. He was like a little bit younger than me. I think like 23 or something. And so he showed me a picture. I sent him my Google number, and then we were conversing, and then we met up. And then it wasn't really that great, because the first thing he said to me was, I thought you were a pump fake. I didn't think you were gonna come. Because I took a really long time, because I was scared personally, because like I said, I have these long gaps of not going on dates, so I kind of am forgetting on how to date because I don't talk to people like that. And then at school, when do I have the time to mingle with people? I don't even know how my ex-classmates even started dating each other, because I'm just like, well, actually I kind of did see it in real time a lot. And what she did was, she was the one that was applying the pressure, not him. He was way too awkward and quiet to apply the pressure. It was in my psych class, and that's how I met them. And I used to think that both of them were really fucking annoying, to be honest with you. I thought they were the most annoying thing ever, because before they were even official, I had to work with him in a group project because no one wanted to pick him. For some reason, no one wanted to pick him, even though he thought that he was cool with the other dudes. I thought they were gonna choose him too, but they didn't. So I was saddled with him. He wasn't horrible, but we did like have a lot of disagreements when it came to the group project, you know what I mean? So when it came down to who did the part, who's gonna be saying what, that's when it always kind of comes down to, when it comes, a lot of the disagreements start. So during that semester, I would see her like going up to his desk, because we sat by each other a lot, and she would rub on his hand and then walk away. And then when she would come back from the bathroom, she would rub his hand or touch, like it's mostly his hand. And then I would look at him, and he would be smiling and turning red. And I'm like, oh, so he's feeling her, you know? I'm not about to sit here and bash her. I just thought she was annoying and a little bit possessive over him. She is a very nice, pretty woman, but I thought she was very possessive, because whenever I needed him for the project, she would be hovering over us. So that's why I was like, that's when I started to not like her, because I was just like, what the fuck? And then after the whole, like, the semester ended with us, or yeah, sometime after the semester ended, like I don't know if he blocked me or if he deleted his Instagram. I couldn't find his Instagram ever again. I couldn't even find hers anymore. So I was like, that's really weird, you know what I mean? But I don't know what happened personally, but they are together, and they've been together for some time now. I think they're still together. The crazy part is I had her again in my film appreciation class, and so we were always talking to each other, but I was very apprehensive because of that first interaction I had with her. And we were grouped in together because we already knew each other from a previous class. So it was a little bit easier to talk to her, but also, like, my first impression of you was being possessive over someone that you weren't dating yet. So I was like getting this feeling like, you don't want me to talk to this dude at all. We weren't even talking about anything other than school. So that's the thing, like, I wasn't flirting with him, like, I wasn't doing anything. I was actually in a relationship by that time, but I didn't have time to be doing all that, you know what I mean? I just wanted to get a good grade, and I wanted everyone to do their part so we can all move on from this class, you know what I mean? I don't want to take this over because someone else was slacking off. So it was cool when I saw her, and then I see him regularly at my school, and he's always looking at his phone. I feel like sometimes he wants to say hi to me, but he just doesn't. I stopped saying hi to him because I just was like, I don't even know. Like, it doesn't even feel like he likes me or anything. I was never mean to him. I just was very, like, stern about, I stood on business, basically. That's what it was. Like, I wasn't trying to be a bitch or anything. So, I don't know. Or he just keeps, like, I don't know if it's just because he keeps to himself or what. Like, I don't see him talking to other people, so, you know what I mean? But, yeah, that's how it was. But with the guy, the fluoriding guy, it was very awkward. He had this really weird obsession with Joe Goldberg, and I was like very alarmed by that, because what do you mean your obsession is Joe Goldberg? And then he had this fascination with how he killed people on the show, and I was like, okay, so this is alarming. And then there was something else. He said, oh, like the sun was going down, so he said, oh, you just want to sit over there so you can have the sun hitting your face because you're light-skinned. Huh? When have I ever said I was better than anyone or whatever because I was light-skinned? Like, I that's the thing about, you know, liking dark-skinned dudes. They always bring up skin tone and color and the fact that I am supposedly better than everyone. And then they always make fun of how I don't look black to people, and it's the most annoying thing ever, you know what I mean? Being racially ambiguous to people is, I mean, it saved me a lot in a lot of situations, but also it's very frustrating. A lot of my life I spent very frustrated because I'm just like, how do you not know? Like, and then people would like accuse my dad of not being my dad. People would want a DNA test. I've gotten comments on that on social media too. Like, I did that whole like him trend on from that song from Tyler the Creator, and a lot of people were posting pictures of when they were little with their parents, so I did it too, and I posted on YouTube, and the first thing I see is, I don't think that's your dad, I think you need a DNA test. And then also when my dad came back from deployment, people were thinking that my mom cheated on my dad because I was very light-skinned when I came out. People were thinking that's not her, that is not his kid for sure. So that was also being talked about amongst the other sailors. So that was very embarrassing hearing that growing up, you know what I mean? And also, like, when I was around my dad's side of the family, they alienated us a lot. Us as in my mom, my brother, and I, because we were lighter. So they would just kind of like look at us like we were like circus animals, and it was the most annoying thing in the world. So that's what I think about when I hear people talk about that shit, because I just am like, I feel uncomfortable whenever people bring it up. I know there's some other light-skinned bitches that love hearing that, but me personally, I don't like making the whole conversation about what am I and why do I sound like that, because a lot of people talk about that on social media, on why I talk funny. A lot of people think I sound delayed, but honestly, how I talk is how a lot of Californians talk. It's either how I talk or how Kim Kardashian talks, you know what I mean? It's very like valley, you know what I mean? So it's like I don't think I sound slow, and also I stutter a lot. So it's like, I don't know. Anyways, but that pissed me off. And then he gets up and he's like, I didn't know this was going to be going on for so long. I have to go. And then he started being weird. And then I just started walking towards my house because I'm just like, this is weird. What do you mean? We hung out for 30 fucking minutes. We hung out for 30 minutes and then I didn't hear from him. He didn't text me back. He didn't tell me anything about what just happened. I didn't hear about anything. He just dipped. And I was like, that was very weird. That was very odd. And I could see why people my age, women my age, are talking to dudes that are in 40s, 50s, 60s because of this. Things like this. They're immature all the time. Like, and then people excuse this constant babying when it comes to dudes that I'm just not a fan of. Like, I don't get it. I don't even understand what that, like, I could have stayed home personally. If you weren't ready to meet me, like, I could have stayed home personally. I would have been totally content with staying home because I honestly did want to stay home, but I wanted to be out for the experience. But it was very frustrating personally, and I haven't hung out with anyone since this other guy back in May. Yeah, May. And then he messaged me on Instagram. We started talking. The first time we met, he brought me Popeyes, but I didn't eat it because it looked like he was eating from it already, and it just looked like it was cold, even though I live by a Popeyes. So I was just like, that's really odd that it looks like he's been eating it. The box was like messed up, and I was just like, and he's like, oh, did you still want it? And I was like, no thank you. And I did eat dinner before, but I just think it was just something that I didn't think he was gonna do, so I just said it. So he was eating it because he spent his money on it, but it already looked like he was touching it before he got to the house. So I was like, this is just really awkward, you know what I mean? And then we were laughing a lot. I remember that, but there were some times where it didn't seem like he knew some things, so I was just kind of like a little irritated by that because he didn't know what benign was. He didn't understand what benign was, and because he was talking about his mom having this lump on her breast or something, and I was like, oh, it could be a cyst or it could be benign. He's like, what's benign? And I was like, it means it's not cancerous. And he was like, oh, okay. That's not cute at 25 years old. I'm sorry, that's not cute at all. Like, he looked older than me, but it's probably because he's had like a really hard life from what I remember. I'm not about to be saying his business, but it didn't go well either with our situation because the second time we hung out, we were supposed to go to the bowling alley. So I was thinking, I was dressing all cute for this bowling alley. I was actually kind of excited, and because he was actually generally making me laugh, so I was like, oh my god, like, this might work. But when we got to the bowling alley, We go up there. He asked the lady, how much is it? And it was like $90 an hour. So then he storms off. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? Because the music is loud. I didn't understand what was going on. He's like, she's asking for $90 an hour. I was about to smack that bitch. Or something like that. I was about to smack her. And I'm like, for $90 an hour? You didn't have to say all that. So that was alarming. I thought that was weird. So he kept complaining about how expensive it was. He's like, back in the day, you're acting like you're from the freaking 80s. Okay, back in the day it wasn't even that much. And I was like, okay, well, things have changed a lot. And I was explaining that to him, like, economically things have changed. And I was just trying to like kind of find a reason for him to calm down, because he was kind of heated for a while. So he was driving. Also, his driving was very bad and erratic. Like, oh my god, it was so effing bad. There was one time where this dude had to slam on his brakes because technically he had the right of way, but he ended up going anyways because he wasn't looking at his rear view mirror. And then he was like, why did that dude honk at me? And I was like, well, technically he was already coming over here and you just kind of sped over here without even looking at your blind spots or whatever. It was kind of making it seem like it was his fault, but I could have sworn it was the dude's right away. Then you yield, then you go after him. Like, I didn't understand why he was arguing me over this, because I have been to driving school. I have drove several times in my life, and I'm just like, I don't understand why we're arguing over this. Like, it was really pointless because he really thought he was in the right. He was in the wrong. So like, it made no sense, you know what I mean? So it was very erratic. He was speeding like crazy, and I was scared a lot of the ride because I was just like, he was speeding at the weirdest times that I felt like it should have never happened. And then when we got to like this other place, because he was like, oh, where do you want to go? Because he didn't want to go to that bowling alley. So I was like, oh, we can go to Dave & Buster's. So we go to Dave & Buster's. He's having troubles with that one too, because, you know, back in the day, not that long ago, before COVID, there was people at the front, the kiosk, to help you with the cards and stuff. So now, for some time now, I already knew this because when my cousin came out here, we were already dealing with that, you know what I mean? So I was used to it. He didn't understand why there wasn't anyone there. So at first he was gonna take the card and just go in there, and I was like, no, you're supposed to put money on the card. And he's like, oh, okay. Then he was having a hard time putting his debit card into the slot. I was like, there's a little line forming back here, and they're gonna be looking at me thinking that I'm just raising this dude. They're gonna think I'm incompetent too. No. So I was frustrated before we even walked through those doors, because it took him so long to figure out how much money to put on there, and it was embarrassing because he just was really having a hard time, and he just was probably thinking like, you just grab the card and then it already has money on it, because that's the way he was acting. And in what world would that work? Like, in all scenarios you had to put money on it. So I don't understand why he thought that was okay to do. So his incompetency really icked the fuck out of me, and I didn't see that stuff until I see him in the public, you know what I mean? So he seemed very also indecisive a lot. He would be like, oh, I would play this game, and then he would be like, oh, we should play this game, oh, we should play this game, and then he wouldn't play it until I would pick something for us. And it was annoying because he would do it a lot during that whole time, and then I got kind of tired of just following him around because he would walk in front of me a lot, and I was like, that's kind of also a red flag, because why aren't you walking next to me? Like, you brought me here. So I was just like, this is really weird. I don't know why do men walk in front of you? Like, I don't understand. They're not supposed to do that. They're supposed to walk next to you. So I don't know, I wasn't having a fun time. There wasn't anything that I found fun about the whole situation. Like, everything about the whole situation was horrible, because like, even when it came to like the games, like he would complain about that too, and he just always found a reason to complain, and it was just really annoying. I talked about it on TikTok, and then they were like, oh, he clearly didn't care about your safety to be driving like that. Some people were thinking that maybe he smoked before he got there, but I was like, well, he's in the military, so they don't know, like that wouldn't work. So anyways, and then when he got to my neighborhood, before I left, he was like, okay, so since we went on a date, you said that we can be in a relationship now, right? And I was like, I never said that. And he's like, yeah, you did. And I was like, I never said that. Like, never said that. I said I like to take things slow. And he's like, oh, well, do you want to be friends? It's okay if you don't want to be friends. And I was like, I don't know like what's happening here. So basically he only took me on that date just to, because he told me before that date, I think, that he had feelings for me. And I was like, oh, that's weird. In my head I was like, that's weird because we only hung out one time and we were texting a lot, you know what I mean? But I was like, oh, I don't want to like go on a, like, he asked me out. Actually, he asked me out. I'm missing some parts because it's been some time. So he did ask me out before the second date, but I was like, I want to take it slow and get to know you before I make that jump. And I think he heard what he wanted to hear, and he probably thought this one whack-ass date was gonna make me be his girlfriend. But I was like, I just can't, you know what I mean? I don't even know, like, everything that he did was very unattractive for me, and on top of that he was shorter than me. So it was like, that was also another thing, like, it was uncomfortable because I normally talk to like tall dudes, and my ex was tall, my ex situationship was tall. I don't like short dudes, like I don't like them. But I was gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, but I was wearing platform shoes and he was shorter than me. So do that information you will, but I just couldn't do it. Like, I was trying not to get icked out, but it was kind of icking me out. So then a little bit later, Cairo passed away in that same month, I guess May 19th of this year. And I told him that I didn't really want to talk to people because my guinea pig just passed, and I was still mourning the fact of that. And I was being very open with my communication, so I didn't just dip and leave and ghost like I normally would. But I was really trying to work on my what is it called? My communication style. So then I noticed that he just liked the thing. And I got super upset that I just deactivated my Instagram, and it's been deactivated since May. I haven't had any urges to reactivate it. I mean, yeah, I miss talking to some people from my childhood, but it's also kind of peaceful because whenever I would post on there, I feel like I kind of had to perform because a lot of people from my school would follow me there. So they would see that side of me that they would never see. So it was kind of embarrassing sometimes to post on there. So I always felt uncomfortable with my own account, and I don't know why. It's not like anyone said anything, but I know that people were probably like, what the fuck is going on? Why is she saying stuff like that? She doesn't even talk like that in real life. But then again, they don't know me. They don't know me. They just worked with me. You know what I mean? So that part was hard. Sometimes I do want to activate it, but I don't know. I don't have that urge anymore. Even when I went to the concert this year, I didn't even post. I thought I was going to reactivate it and then post the pictures and then deactivate it again, but I didn't even do that. I just posted it on my photography account and kept it moving. And honestly, like, I think it's a lot more peaceful on that account because I don't have to feel like I'm performing and stuff. And these people don't even like me for real. They just knew me. That's it. They didn't want to be my friend. It's just how it is. But when it comes to being single, I don't feel like it's the most horriblest thing ever, honestly. That's why we're making this video. I keep trying to remember. It's not horrible. but I do miss intimacy a lot. It's not even like sex, it's intimacy, non-sexual intimacy that I do miss. And I feel like it's embarrassing to say that, but I've been touch deprived for 2 years. I haven't even made out with anyone. I haven't done anything intimate with anyone that I've gone on dates with. And it's kind of crazy to think that, you know what I mean? But also I just didn't feel like people deserved my body in that way. So that's why I was kind of like creating that barrier. But it's so hard to date because people are just so scared, and they think that ghosting is just the better option a lot of the times. And personally, it's not. It's embarrassing, and it's not. It's immature. It's immature for one, and for two, it's just not good for the other party. And you have to think, like, especially if you're spending so much time with this person, then you just uproot and just ghost them or block them. It makes them feel like shit. It makes them feel like shit, and it's happened to me a few times, and it's just like, it's not the best feeling. It's just like what happened? Like, I thought we were having fun. But it's just, I don't know, like, I get scared of dating because I just know how it is, and I've tried, and I get more frustrated than excited. I used to be really excited to date and stuff like that, but ever since I got out of my relationship, I haven't been excited. It's been different ever since I got out of a relationship, and I could see why people go back to their exes, because it's hard out here. Honestly, it's really hard out here, and it's not fun. And yeah, it's like fun to have a roster, but I'm not the type of person that really enjoys rosters. I had dated 2 people at the same time back in 2022, and that was like probably the best for me, because it wasn't like overlapping, and I had schedules with them. Like, I would see my ex on the weekends. I would see my situationship on Tuesdays or something, because his work schedule was a little bit more flexible, because he wasn't in the military. So I was like, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air of knowing that there's someone out here that's not from here, that is not in the military. Like, that was also refreshing, because honestly, like, not to group them all together, but a lot of them are just so toxic and so like immature and so hypersexual, and it's really annoying to me personally, because they will leave you high and dry all the time. And I don't really know why people overhype military men all the time. I think it's the benefits, and I think that the fact that they look cute and attractive in their uniforms, that's really what it is, because there's not really a lot of good military men out there. I have met some, but I can count them on my fingers. Maybe like 3 of them. But I just, and the majority of them that I know are not good. And I'm just like, when are you gonna grow out of that toxic phase? Like, it's just old, personally. I don't even know if I want to be in a relationship with another military man. It's just a lot on me personally, and if it does happen again, they have to be really, really good at communicating, and not that fake shit that my ex did, where he thought he was a good communicator when he wasn't. Like that, I'm really talking about the actual shit where it's not like feeling like it's pulling a leg or pulling teeth every time I ask what's going on. You know what I mean? Because that shit is really frustrating personally, and I'm at the point where I'm just really not with the bullshit, and I'm getting too old. I'm 25, and yeah, you would let that shit slide when you're younger, but I also eventually want to settle down. I don't think I'm gonna have kids, but eventually I do want to get married, you know what I mean? And everyone wants to have kids, and I don't want to have kids. I just don't think it's in the books for me. I just don't think so. And plus, I don't know what the world is like. World is gonna be like when I choose to have kids. Like, it's very uncertain, and it's very crazy right now. So I just am like, well, I don't think I'm gonna have kids, you know what I mean? But even if I will adopt, I'm still bringing a kid into this world, you know what I mean? But it's just frustrating, because I'm just tired of people being immature and just running away from their problems and blocking. It's very annoying. I started noticing the blocking thing last year when I started going on dates with different people after my breakup, And I was like, this is really odd, because normally, oh, I met another dude last year that was an ex-gang member, allegedly. I was like, there was someone else that blocked me, and I remembered his name was very feminine to me personally. I never met someone named Miracle, but his name was Miracle, and he was my brother's age, which I don't really like doing all that. But he was kind of weird, I'm not gonna lie. He was very odd, because whenever we would text, I'm telling you, I would never understand what the fuck he's saying. I would try to, but then I was like, I don't understand what you're saying, and I would say it kind of like in a joking way. But then I got to a point where I was kind of getting frustrated with it, and I was like, I really don't understand what you're saying. I feel like you're talking in Sims. And then he blocked me for saying that he talks in Sims, and I was like, no, this ninja didn't. So there's that. We only hung out one time, and he talked about how he knew Lil RT. He knew his family. He said he knew India Love's family before they blew up, because he was like from going to Atlanta and to California, because he didn't really have parents, so he was kind of like flip-flopping from houses a lot. So that's how I would know, that's how he would know these people apparently. But I don't know if he really knew him or if he was lying, because people lie a lot, you know what I mean? And there was one time where we were talking in person, and he was like, oh yeah, like my friends from back home wanted me to go to this cookout, and I guess there were gang members. And I was like, oh, are you gonna fly out there? And he was like, fuck no. And I was like, oh, like, why did he bring it up, you know what I mean? And then I started getting kind of comfortable, like, if he's really a gang member, I just can't do it, because I just don't want to be ducking and dodging every time someone sees me with him. It's not good for me personally, and I just don't want to put that target on my back. If he really is a gang member, I just can't, because I don't know who's gonna show up, and I don't know who's gonna be there, if we're gonna be out, and it's just not for me, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to say it, but it's just not for me. I'm just not that type of girl. I know that there's girls out there that like that lifestyle, and they probably think that since I don't know much about that lifestyle, that I will love it, because I was considered the good girl a lot of the times. But personally, I just couldn't find the appeal in it, especially since I watched so many movies about it. There was a lot of domestic violence happening and a lot of people dying, and it's just like, there's just no appeal to it personally. And I just don't want to keep seeing my said boyfriend getting arrested all the time for drug charges and shit like that. Like, personally, I just can't do it, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't even know why we hung out. I just said yes because I just did it for the plot. But I feel like he could have been normal. Like, he wasn't ugly or anything, but he was just weird. I'm thankful that I'm not settling as much anymore, because before, if I was like going on a date with someone, I would be like, oh, if someone liked me, then I would be like kind of like excited to see them. And then I would be like, oh my god, they like me and we should go out, all that stuff. When I was like really deeply, heavily into my male validation phase. But I'm just not there anymore. I just don't have that urge to, well, there's times where I do have urges, or I don't know if I'm considering them urges, or if I'm just really wanting to explore, but I'm just mixing it up with thinking that I want male validation. But I think I just want to explore because I don't know how to explore. And on top of that, like, the people my age don't really leave the house. They just hang out in the gym and they go to work or they go to school, and that's it. And a lot of people at my school, they're like in relationships, they're like married and or dating. And there's like this time where I had a crush on like someone in my class 2 times, and they were in relationships, and I didn't do anything about it. I didn't pursue them because I already knew. It was embarrassing. It was just embarrassing because I was just like, well, why does this keep happening? The first time it was in my public speaking class, and what I liked about him is that he remembered my name. And then whenever we were coming up to get like our test or something, oh, he was in my public speaking and my history class. So one time during my history class, we were coming up to get our like exams back, and then he looked over and he saw mine and he gave it to me. And then I remember just liking him from that, like from then on. And I was like so embarrassed because I knew that he had a girlfriend, because he would talk about her in the public speaking class. Because the public speaking class, like, my teacher was so lenient, and it was more like a social class other than, you know, public speaking. So a lot more people were more open, and it was a good place to socialize, but I didn't really socialize in that class. But anyways, yeah, I didn't really socialize a lot, but it was the easiest class, honestly, the easiest A that I've gotten. But yeah, and then my second class, this is my government class. How I found out that he had a girlfriend was, there was like this note on his pencil that was taped, and it said something along the lines of, "I hope you have a good day." And I thought it was really cute, so I was like, it looks really girly. So I'm pretty sure that's not his mom doing that. I'm pretty sure it's a girlfriend. So then I look at his phone, and then I saw that he has like a girlfriend on his phone with him on it, and I was like, oh. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I would have been his type, honestly. I don't think, because everyone out here likes like the same carbon footprint of Latinas, and I'm Afro-Latina, so like there's not a lot of people that look like me out here. There's like very few people that look like me out here. So when they like Latinas, they mean like the copy and paste ones, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's also like hard. But also it's like, I guess it makes sense because you grew up around it, and that's what you see out here really. So I'm like, it makes sense. But also like in California, there's more of a mix of people. It was a little bit diverse. So yeah, I think it's weird that it was raining like so effing hard when I was in the shower earlier today, and now it's sunny. It was like looking like it was gonna storm, and I was like, what the hell? And now it's sunny. Like, what? But anyways, yeah, so I've been having a hard time with that. I don't really like have a lot of crushes on people. Just because I just know like it's probably not gonna go anywhere, and I know how I am, and I don't really approach people anymore. I'm a little traumatized from earlier this year when I approached the other guy, you know what I mean? I was kind of traumatized from that, and I know it wasn't like the worst experience, and that I took it well, he took it well, but it is a little bit crazy that like I genuinely didn't know. Like I genuinely didn't know. Like I just thought that he was just one of those grunge dudes. Like, I don't know. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end the video here. I've been talking for so long, and I do need to study because I do have an exam tomorrow for my biology class. I already know I'm gonna ace it because personally I do like that class, but I'm generally just like so over studying. Like all I do is study, but I keep failing one of my exams in my other classes, so I'm like, I don't even know. But I'm gonna end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my socials, everything's gonna have below. Check out my other videos. I don't know if I said that, and make sure you do so. It helps me out a lot. I'll see you guys next time with another video. If you have any video requests, let me know, because I don't know what to post on here sometimes, so I just start reposting other videos just because. So yeah, I'll see you guys another time. Bye.